Okay, so it's on. Okay. Hi guys, thank you all for coming. Can you guys take your seats? So, hi guys, my name is Jade Fuller and I'm the chairman for Allen Hickok College. We have a wonderful speaker today, Star Parker. So I want to give a quick bio information about her. Star Parker is a national syndicated columnist with Creators Syndicate as well as the president of CURE, the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, a public policy think tank that seeks to address issues of cultural, race, and poverty from a Judeo-Christian conservative perspective. From welfare mother to businesswoman, nationally celebrity, and international author, Star Parker exemplifies hard work, aspiration, and individual responsibility. CURE serves to lead others to follow her example and bring new energy to policy discussions in Washington. Star received her bachelor's degree in marketing and international business from Woodbury University and has received numerous awards for her work on public policy issues. For all her hard work in the grassroots conservative movement, Star Parker was awarded the 2016 CPAC Ronald Reagan Award. Star is a best-selling author with 4 books, including Blind Conceit, which offers a way of America to move forward on the issues of racial polarization, politics, and policy, as well as Uncle Sam's Plantation, which details how big government enslaves America's poor and what we can do about it. She regularly consults with both federal and state legislators on market-based strategies to fight poverty and has spoken at over 180 colleges and universities about anti-poverty. A number of organizations have endorsed Star's work, including Susie B. Anthony List, Eagle Forum, Heritage Foundation, Billy Graham Family Research Council, Young America's Foundation, and Conservative Leadership PAC, and the American Conservative Union. So I would like to give a big round of applause to Star Parker.
I'm going to talk from over here and use notes, and then this microphone will be for Q&A later. Well, I had to come up here just to see where you were. This is great. I'm just excited about coming to your college. I understand I'm the first lecturer for YAP at your school, and I appreciate you having me here. I have lectured on, in fact, I was a little old that it was 180 colleges. I think now it's up to 215, because every time I say, these kids are getting really rowdy, Lord, I need to get off the campuses, I get more campuses. But it's all right with me because the kids, then they grow up. I shouldn't keep calling them kids, but they are. I'm a grandma, I can call them kids. My daughter's old enough to be their mom now. But they grow up and then they come to Washington or get in amazing jobs. I was just at the White House the other day and a young man said, I already know who you are. And when I was introducing myself, or someone was introducing me to him, and I said, oh, you do? He said, yep, you came to my college years ago, Ohio University. I'm like, oh, good. He said, yeah, you changed my life. I loved everything you had to say. I said, well, what do you do now? And he's like the political director for the White House. I'm like, oh, can I have your autograph? So it's kind of cool, when you, so all of you that are going to be inspired by my discussion today, and if you end up in Washington, D.C., then make sure you come by and say hello. And then if you end up in Washington, D.C. in a very powerful position, make sure that you keep a job for me or my grandkids. I am specializing in anti-poverty initiatives now, and while I appreciate the accolades that I get from the work that I'm doing today, I'll go out and people, those that read my column will say something about how pretty I am because they see my little picture in the little box, and then they say, you're so much prettier in person. And I actually was on a flight the other day, and I got bumped to first class, and the gentleman sitting next to me is sitting there reading my column because it runs now in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and USA Today, and I saw he had both, but I didn't know, was he friend or foe? And so I didn't want to say anything. I was like, my column. And so when I asked him at the end, I said, so did you like what you just read? He said, I'm to the right of Rush Limbaugh. I loved every word of it. I'm like, that's me. I appreciate those that come and perhaps give a lecture because of that, or the people that Foxaholics. I'm on hiatus right now, but the Foxaholics, they try that too. That I'm prettier in person, and I know that's not true because they spray us with makeup at Fox. And in fact, when I used to do the Barney Show or the Fox and Friends, which are the morning shows, I'd go back to my apartment immediately and wipe off all that makeup because with my past, I didn't want people to think that maybe I reverted back to my old life and was just getting in from the night before. So I have to take that off. But I really appreciate those that are giving those kind of accolades, or my work running my Policy Institute. It is a nonprofit, so I have supporters all over the country that are helping us fight poverty with market-based solutions, or at least explore them. But that's not where I started. The bio sounds really good, but what a lot of folks don't know, unless they've researched me or they've known me for quite some time, is that I learned most of what I know today on poverty in the school of hard knocks. I believe the lies of the left is how sometimes I'll turn it. What those lies that we even hear today, that the poor are poor because the wealthy are wealthy, or that my problems are somebody else's fault, or that I didn't have to mainstream because the country was racist anyway and it was going to catch up with me. And in believing those lies, I started very recklessly living. In fact, I barely made it out of high school literate. But I got engaged very early in criminal activity and drug activity and sexual activity. I know firsthand these so-called safe, legal, rare abortion clinics because it wasn't until after the fourth time I went into one, I thought maybe there's something wrong with killing your offspring. Decided I wasn't going to kill the next child, didn't change my behaviors, was pregnant again within a very short period of time, and went on welfare. And so I've been on welfare now, in and out. In fact, here in California, as you know, we pay for people's abortions, so I was having the taxpayers pick up that bill. And then I went on welfare for the next 3.5 years, just lived there consistently, watching my life just spiral into a little dark hole. And that's where God found me. I had a Christian conversion and changed my life. It was amazing how I was able just to get so refocused on what was important. I got into college. I started a business. After the 1992 Los Angeles riots destroyed my business is when I began to start thinking about social policy and social reform. The recklessness that I was living in, I saw far too many living in as well, and I wanted to do something about it. Earlier, Phil mentioned that I was in radio for a while here, and I didn't really know that my show came this far down. It was a San Francisco show in that immediate area. But after I left radio, they fired me. I wasn't going to go back to radio. They're going to like what I was talking about. I was in D.C. and I'm a conservative. So that's all right. I knew I wasn't going back because I wanted to do something about the problems instead of just discuss the problems. So I started an organization, CURE, the Center for Urban Renewal and Education, and about 10 years ago I moved it to Washington, D.C. Many of my friends thought Europe must be an absolute midlife crisis because I moved in the middle of the winter, and I said, it can't get that bad, and I'm from Southern California, it was bad. But I also didn't think that if my business grew, I'm going to have to stay in Washington, and what am I going to do with my house and my grandkids growing up down there in LA? So figuring that out on a personal level, that I can run through the state once a month. To kiss those kids and clean the spider webs out of my home and then go back to Washington because of the work that we're attempting to get done. I have to interject that when most people think about D.C. and what's going on there, they think about the political side, the politics. And politics is exactly like Tip O'Neill said years ago, that it's like professional wrestling. The conflict's for the crowd. At the end of the day, they're a business, and they're in the same business. And that's why it's been a little difficult for outsiders to come in and attempt to drain the swamp. They don't realize that the swamp is full of people that have been playing together for a long time because their kids grew up together. Like many in neighborhoods, when your children play together, you become friends with the parents because you're going to all of the birthday parties and all of the other activities surrounding the school and or their enjoyments. So that's the political side that is changing because a few years back, a whole lot of decent people from quiet communities all across this country woke up in a rage saying, you know what, we get them to go to church on Sunday morning, we take our kids to school on Monday morning, tell them they better behave, we go to work, and then at the end of the week we have less than 40% of our check left over because of taxes. Then we look at what's happening with those taxes, and we're fed up. So they had a revolt, a Tea Party, and begin to change things in Washington. And why many of us that work there are really trying to get things done, we're excited about that new opportunity is because policy making is not like politics. Policy making is more like baseball. You only get an opportunity at the bat one time, and if you miss it, you're out. In fact, you might be out for a long time. You might not get back up to the bat for a while. We had a discussion earlier in the car about even just Social Security reform. For instance, yeah, when Bush came, he thought he had the political capital. We went for it, trying to get the money to be able to move from the IRS that you don't own to an IRA that you do, and it fell apart. And notice no one's saying anything since then, because when something's burned that badly, no one wants to touch it again for an awful long time without force. The only thing that moves politicians are their constituents, and the only way that the constituents know what they're really doing in Washington is the local paper reports it, and most of the local papers don't report on things that are happening on a day-to-day basis in Washington. So everything else, they just don't really care about. They say if it didn't happen on Meet the Press, it didn't happen. And so that's DC. So there are many of us that really want to accomplish some of our goals. Mine is to dismantle the welfare state. I believe that charity belongs to the church, and government shouldn't be in it. We look at what the conditions of the people that are trapped in these systems look like. We should be embarrassed at what we've done for our poor, and I will get into some of what that looks like. And so what's happening, that whole setup was to let you know that we're very encouraged, not just myself, but many of us that have been working in anti-poverty initiatives to try to bring new solutions to the table, as opposed to what we've been doing for the last 50 years to damage people's lives. And this new president said that he wants to fix the inner cities. It was very serious. He looked into the eyes of black communities all across this country through the TV and said, I'm going to fix the inner cities. What in the world do you have, what's your problem with that? What do you have to lose? And people were offended by him saying it, and then we had horrible discussions about him addressing the black community in that way, from everybody in the Black Caucus to every left-wing liberal radio host, to every left-wing liberal TV host, to all of the celebs and Annie and everyone that just loves the status quo for our most vulnerable. But he didn't care, and he didn't care that they didn't vote for him. Trump got about 8% of the black vote, but he at inaugural said it again, that he was going to fix these inner cities. And then he turned around and at the State of the Union and addressing Congress and said he was going to fix these inner cities. And so a lot of us are very excited about that. I mean, he said that he's going to do a whole lot of things, but I mean, he might do it. And it seems like he has just about the temperament and the narcissism and all that goes with someone telling you no, that it's like, by golly, I'm going to figure it out, and whether I have to bring in new experts every week, I'm going to figure these things out. He wants to make America strong again. He wants to make America wealthy again. He wants to make America proud again. He wants to make America safe again. And he wants to make America great again. So there are many of us there that said this is welcome news, especially those of us that, like me, who consulted on federal welfare reform when Clinton was there. We had to force that bill on his table 3 times before he would sign it. Then to go through 8 years of President Bush, who brought it all back to Washington through a faith-based initiative and decided that, well, we put the women on welfare, but we'll put the churches on. And then going through 8 years of Obama, we said, well, now let's expand it and make sure that people are trapped in government dependency, and that it is a welcome, refreshing message for somebody to say that I want to fix what is broken down in our most vulnerable areas in this nation. And it's a major opportunity. And so I want to talk to you about what has broken down. I want to talk to you this evening to ask actually for you to get on board with what we need to get done, because it certainly needs to get done, because all of the social snapshots, all of the financial forecasts today show exactly the same thing, that having a large chronically poor portion of our population is not healthy for them. It's not good for them. It's not good for the country. It's not good for local municipalities. It's not good for states. It's not good for the federal government. And as a social policy consultant and thinker, I look at data. I look at a lot of data. My researcher is very good and sends over incredible things that keep me either crying or with some fine wine. I was so glad when I went up to Sonoma the other day. It was like, yeah, because it's so depressing to look at the income and the demographic data from all the states. I look at all the time. From each state, I look at counties. I look at the poverty rates. Poverty based on race. Poverty based on age, poverty based on family structure. I look at education rates based on race, age, family structure. I look at the crime rates based on race, age, family structure. And why do I look at these things in that order? Because everybody complains that these are racial challenges that we have in our society when we're dealing with the poor. And so I want to see if that's true and how true is it, and are we looking at the right problem area? Are we asking the right question to get to the answer that we all say that we seem to want? We've been in a war on poverty for 50 years. Maybe we should assess the results. What I find everywhere, all across the country, regarding those that are most unprepared to mainstream. It doesn't matter if they're urban or they're rural. It doesn't matter if they're native or they're suburban. It doesn't matter if they're in the north, the south, the east, the west. All of the data shows exactly the same thing about the climate, about the social and economic challenges that are facing our nation's poor. You know what that data shows? Two areas: collapsed ethics and collapsed marriage. That's the common denominator. It doesn't matter what race, what age, what family structure, except when you are married. That's where the stark differences come in. If you are married trying to raise children. It's not an accident that poor children today are 3 times more likely to be born outside of marriage than was the case before, or the eternal truths, the biblical truths that guided the establishment of our country were undermined. They were unraveled. They were replaced by situational ethics. And the secular problem, their answer to every problem, the secularists that took over power and changed laws, public policy is the public square. When the law changes, people change. When people change, their attitudes change. And we've been on this cycle downward. And in particular, when you start pouring government at everything, when you say, is there a natural consequence to the challenge that's in front of somebody's life? Perhaps things that they did on their own. We're not even allowed to discuss whether it was something that they had to do with it. And in fact, the data that had me almost in tears that I received just this week was showing how people are now perceiving the wealthy and how they perceive the poor. And it's just unsettling to me to how many people have so disconnected that we're here because